This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
Welcome to Power Athlete Radio. This is Steve. I'm here with Denny, Cali, and Ben Oliver. What's up, gang?
What's going on?
Hey.
What's going on, everybody?
How are you guys?
Doing awesome. How are you, Cali?
I am fantastic.
Yeah. I stole Cali away from her training session, so she's all pumped up right now.
That's right. I'm jacked. I feel jacked right now.
What are you doing today?
Well, right now I'm just putting some bros through a little workout, but I'll be working some snatches a little later. Got a little competition this weekend, so I need to work on that.
What kind of competition you have?
It's just a local CrossFit one, my first one in California, so I don't know who's going to be there, and I don't know anything about the competition in terms of like the other athletes that'll be there, but it's myself and Fireman Dave from our gym here, and so it's like a partner competition.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, yeah. Just for the record, what's your best snatch?
Yesterday I did 142, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That'd be pounds, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. 142 in pounds. I'm still living on pounds. That's kind of like the gym I came from. We used pounds, and so I haven't quite converted to kilos yet, although I know that's kind of sad, but I should.
And just for all you guys, it's more of like a muscle snatch than it is a power snatch.
Yeah, that's more impressive. I can probably full snatch like 95 pounds.
The plight of the power athlete, right?
That's right.
All right, so Cali, can you give us an update on the team series and what's happening in Atlanta? That's the next one that's coming up, right?
You got it. Yep. So we have one coming up in Atlanta on May the 4th. I would like to also say May the 4th be with you. And that's a very special Star Wars holiday. So that's going on in Atlanta at a gym called CrossFit North Atlanta. And so we've got a lot of volunteers for that. Some good teams signed up. Steve, I know you're going to be there, so we're pretty excited. I'm finalizing the Metcons for it, and we'll be sending the Metcon standards out to the volunteers next week, and we'll be good to go by Saturday.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. And you said you had plenty of volunteers?
Yes, we do have plenty of volunteers. I'm pretty stoked on that. We have a nice long list of people helping out. We also have a new sponsor who's joining us there. The brand is called Bully Bling, and they have a great recovery drink and energy drink. So they'll be there giving out samples and representing down in that neck of the woods.
Nice. Denny, what other questions do we have for Cali?
Is there anything that you need that you're going to need help with for the next weekend, or are you good?
You know, Denny, I would really like 10 Fiji water bottles. I only like red M&Ms. And yeah, I just prefer like a shoulder massage for at least on the hour for 15 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, honestly, I think we're good to go. If anybody wants to reach out and help, they can. They can just reach me at Cali at powerathletehq.com. If they have a specific service that they want to offer, we'll have a vendor there for food. And I think that other than that, the rock tape people will be there and maybe a few other vendors. But that's about it. I think we should be good to go.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Cool. Thanks, Cali.
You got it.
Hey, Steve, how'd your competition go?
Yeah, it was good. I won gold in my division, even
Nice.
with my measly bench press. I PR'd my back squat and just missed a 600 deadlift. So
reflecting on it, what would you have changed? How did everything go with the commands? Because I know that we talked via email, and that's in powerlifting, that's something that takes a little bit getting used to, especially when you're feeling like really jazzed at a competition.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to pay attention and you rack the bar early or whatever.
So one of my buddies, Dan Sturm, he owns the gym CrossFit Johns Creek that hosted it. It was USAPL sanctioned meet, but it was hosted at this box, and he basically stood to the side and If you ever meet Dan, he's the loudest person on the planet. So he yelled at me virtually through the whole thing, like, don't move. So I was pretty good. The only one that really sucked was I hadn't practiced the bench press pause.
Holy shit, Steve, that's a huge oversight.
Hey, I don't bench press. That's a fucking game changer right there.
You realize that bench pressing is part of powerlifting, and if you don't bench press.
Well, that's all about to change because I really love the sport. It was so much fun. So I'm going to start training. The Georgia State Championship is in November. So I'm gonna shoot for that. And, I've got all summer to like get fat. I weighed in 12 pounds under the max. Yeah. So that was probably not a wise idea either. I kind of just went in blind, just did CrossFit football and was like, hey, I'm going to go do a powerlifting competition because it's for a cancer fundraiser. Yeah. And, it was cool. It was good. It was super fun. Everyone was nice. I thought for sure there were going to be some like meathead douchebags there, but no, there weren't any that I could see. Mm-hmm. So, it was awesome. It was cool.
Hey, did you end up going with a wider squat stance? Or did you go more like Olympic lifting?
I have kind of like neither a low bar nor a high bar squat. It's kind of just like middle of the range, and I just squat the way I squat. It's what works for my body mechanics, and so that I just went with my standard squat. And knee sleeves. That's it. Same old thing.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Awesome. Yeah. So, what's your plan for bench?
To get stronger than a 13-year-old girl.
How impressive was that, huh? Like, she looked normal too, right? Like, looked like just your average
normal body type and everything.
Yeah. She did. How about her arch? Her range of motion was like an inch.
I have to say that she had a pretty like decent advantage because she appeared to have zero spine whatsoever. So.
Yeah, no, that was super impressive. No, I mean, actually, I talked to you, Cali, and Luke and John about working on my bench and stuff. Just my shoulders have been jacked up, so I need to work on some stuff to sort of stabilize that shoulder girdle, even when I'm in the sort of the lateral position laying down. So I've got some plans for that. I mean, I've got a couple months to get it up, so we'll see.
Yeah, good.
Accessory work, a lot of tricep work.
Yeah, I guess I'll probably be going back to like the Gold's Gym and like flexing in the mirror or something like that.
Dumbbell bench all day. We're doing that in our gym at Balboa today. We got a max dumbbell bench press, 5 sets with superset with dumbbell bent over rows with some rest,
Nice.
You got to do it every once in a while.
Yeah, they're loving it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I've been doing a little bit of that stuff, but I need to get some heavier dumbbells, which, Craigslist, here I come. And then I just got to work on it. I mean, being a CrossFit-y kind of athlete, sort of gave up bench press because it's never programmed. And I've really paid the price. I mean, my numbers don't make any sense. I got 570, 575 deadlift, 410 squat, and then like a 250 bench. I mean, that's just that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's an area for improvement. Don't be so hard on yourself.
What a positive outlook.
You caught me at a good day. So
yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, I appreciate
could you say that the CrossFit football strength template would be a powerlifting template?
I think it could be. I think it really just depends at where you are in your training as well. I mean, I think it's a great base, particularly the amateur progression for a power lifter. It will definitely get you stronger. And if you're looking to put on mass as well, I think it's a good thing for that, particularly like the incorporation of the pull-ups. I think people sleep on how important that is in terms of like its transfer to that shoulder girdle stability that Steve was talking about, as well as just like maintaining a good like rack position in, back squat. That back is such a limiting factor for most people that if they're not incorporating a lot of those either horizontal or vertical pulls, then they're really not seeing that translate to their power lifts either. So, I find that with like a lot of people that I speak with, like some of my powerlifting friends who follow different schools of training or different schools of thought. And, I just find that seems to be like a pretty common denominator or a common like weakness for them. And so all of our manual resistance pull-ups or weighted pull-ups, all of those things I think are super important, and it's something that our program offers quite a bit of. Ben, what do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. He says, yeah.
Well, I hung around with some powerlifters over the weekend too, and when I was talking with their program, it's like everything squat, bench, and dead, conjugate, and then constant accessory work.
Right.
And the CrossFit football, I mean, like all that accessory work, upper back, triceps, your abs. I mean, that's in the conditioning, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's just a glorified way of saying supersets or accessory work is our Metcons, because it's way more fun than, hey, I'm going to have you go do a bunch of reps for 30 minutes. I know when Nate went out to Westside, Louis told him, he goes, hey, just go do banded tricep extensions. Nate goes, how long? He says 30 minutes.
Holy shit.
And
As a CrossFitter, you look at that as like an AMRAP.
AMRAP tricep pushdowns, 30 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I'm going to start getting back into that kind of stuff, right? And for me, it's kind of exciting because I've been doing the conditioning, the AMRAPs, and that's great. I'm probably picking the wrong time. I shouldn't be doing it in summer because not that I have any abs, but, it's not going to be looking pretty, I'm sure. But I'm kind of excited to get back into just doing some accessory work and just packing on some more muscle if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, our Metcons are, or I should say DWADs, they're heavy enough. The lifting is heavy enough to be considered that accessory work for the most part. And, it also helps. I understand, if you're training exclusively for powerlifting, that's awesome. But it also helps maintain a slight bit of athleticism if you follow our DWADs throughout whatever your powerlifting training looks like. If you're sprinting twice a week, at least, you're going to at least maintain a memory of what it feels like to run a little bit,
Well, yeah, you don't want to grow to be a fat tub of shit.
No.
You gotta keep your...
It comes down to, what are you training for? And, we throw that in at every opportunity we can because, if your goal, Steven, is to just get big and strong and work on the powerlifting, you obviously have to change your demands a little bit.
Right.
And that's all about that power athlete stuff. But I agree with Cali. If you, I know plenty of big, strong guys who sprint and do some conditioning on the side, And
absolutely.
In between sets, just keep your workouts rolling.
Yeah, some jumping jacks. I don't know.
Well, like if your rest times are just 60 seconds or less, I mean, you gotta have a pretty good condition. If you're going to move 80, 90% plus.
I remember coming off of that Bulgarian program, and we started doing the fours after that. And I remember thinking after sets of fours that that was the most cardio I had gotten in months. And I was breathing super hard. I could barely catch my breath after sets of fours.
Right.
Power cleans, whatever. And so for me, that felt pretty cardiovascular.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. You guys got any more questions for Cali? She's, I know, got to get back to some clients and stuff. So.
No, I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Cali, for jumping
Thanks,
in.
Cali.
I'll just change my voice and sound like
you
her.
betcha. Yeah.
She's got a deeper voice than me anyways.
I lift heavier too, so.
Oh.
Jake.
Ouch.
Thanks, man.
Boy, it's a friendly group over there, huh?
It's not. It's a good time. We always have a good time, and you got to have thick skin. And we joke that the last rung of strength is ridicule. Being able to deal with it.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Awesome.
So I guess we've got some user questions. Denny, do you want to go with those?
Well, we have. Do we want to talk about the forum discussion as far as sprinting?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you want to go right to the power athlete
Yeah, what do you say, Ben? Do you what do you think about that? One of the guys on the forum said, I'd always heard that field work or track work or other max effort sprints should always come before heavy lifting, but a lot of the time here, he means on CrossFit Football, sprint DWODs are programmed for after. Can you give some insight on that?
A little bit. And again, I just said it, what are you training for? Like in terms of, if you have a track athlete, you're probably going to do the max effort sprint stuff before, and you're going to rest like 20 minutes in between efforts to maintain that, the true intensity side of things. I know in talking with John, because about 3 months back, we did like some heavy front squats followed by some flying starts. Mm-hmm. And we were talking to him about what that was all about. And it kind of came down to what he said was just trying to do something heavy, like a simple term, choose something heavy and do something dynamic immediately after. Kind of that motor sequential firing order, if you will, in terms of like the motor unit stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, really tax that CNS with that heavy lift and then go back and try to get those same motor units to recruit like once fatigued and almost kind of develop new pathways without, in a very simple approach to it. Like do something really heavy, exhaust those motor units that are recruited, and then try to do something dynamic and ballistic right after.
Nice. Yeah, and some of that's been popping up even with respect to other movements, not sprints. I mean, where we had, 3-rep max squat followed by max effort box jump or something like that. And, it's a similar kind of pattern, except it's not a sprint. The box jump obviously is a little bit faster. So, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
no, I just in terms of a very, observational thing, when we do like a heavy squat and then we go do a box jump after, like our next set of squats always seems to be a lot faster, a lot smoother and easier to some respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That was going to be what I said when I did that workout. I thought this is going to crush me and my squats are going to be horrible. But it turned out something about that jump made the squats feel not lighter, just like you said, sort of smoother.
Yeah.
So it's like you're firing the fast twitch muscle fibers in the squats, and then they're fatigued, and then go call upon them again for the sprints.
Yeah,
let's get them going. They're already primed. They're already ready to fire. See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, for Denny, you've been to the CERT. I know Steve hasn't made it out to one yet, but we talk about it in terms of the manual resistance protocol.
Yeah.
You're doing something very exhaustive to the motor units, to the nerves, all sorts of fun stuff. And then you're going to try and elicit a response immediately after that's dynamic and ballistic. And some people, when they get done with the manual resistance or the heavy squats, go to a run and they look like a puppy who doesn't know what their feet are doing. Yeah. And then you have other people who like sets 3 and 4 just start to go. Things start to work.
Well,
that's why.
And that's what you're looking for? That's, when that workout like that is posted, you want to look at the data and see who was like, I don't want to say successful and failed, but I mean, who operated more efficiently, and who had a hard time with it.
Yeah, I think when people do those workouts, like it was a big kind of controversy. A couple of months back, we programmed, 5-10-15, I think, or 5-10-5. And it was like 8 max efforts, and people were like, oh, that wasn't hard, Or another example, like 8 by 100 meter sprints, and people were like, oh, that was whatever. They're obviously not tapping into what it really means to do 8 by 100 max efforts.
Right.
What if I told you to do 8 1RM back squats back to back to back?
Right.
You'd fry.
Yeah, you'd be crushed.
So in terms of how you should approach those workouts, you should always look as the run should be max effort. It should all be max effort, trying to elicit the greatest response you can out of your body. And if you're just going through the motions, say post squat, whether you're moving fast, as long as you're mentally or like neurologically thinking you're moving fast, that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's awesome.
That's the kind of shit you get with Power Athlete Radio.
Yeah. A superficial answer would be like, hey, when we play sports, you're going to be fatigued and you're going to still have to run.
Well, not even when you play sports. I mean, I think about some of the operators or law enforcement or fire. I mean, you're not always going to get to rest in between having to carry a heavy ladder or a body out of a building or something like that. So, I mean, I think, for a functional adaptation, switching it up is really a good, it's just beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. That kind of almost superficial meaning of like, hey, you're going to eventually have to pick something up heavy and run with it. Especially,
exactly.
You know,
I mean,
I don't know if you ever tried to pick up a body off the ground.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's pretty hard. I mean,
horrible.
Yeah, especially if it's dead weight.
Dead weight.
Yeah.
I had to carry Luke one time. He just got really sleepy one night when we were out, and I had to kind of carry him into the car. And I'll tell you, 220 pounds did not feel like 220 pounds.
Yeah, 220 on the barbell is fundamentally different than 220 on the skeleton.
Yeah, like across the floor.
Yeah. And, it's also functional as a parent. I mean, Denny, you got a bunch of kids and you're carrying them around, running around. I mean, they don't weigh 220, but, an extra 50, 60, or 100 pounds that you're throwing around and stuff. I mean, it's just good to mix stuff up. I mean, like you said, superficially, but, I mean, it has that functional transfer that I think is what most of the people are after.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool. Right. Cool.
Hopefully that answers your question, CW.
All right. And then we got Bulldozer 2020. He's asking about a recipe section on the Power Athlete HQ website. The idea of it, if Power Athlete headquarters has thought about doing something like that to where people can post meal ideas.
Yeah. I know
the CrossFit Football has like a nutrition section with a couple good meals. I think I've cooked up all of them. But what are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Well, what do you guys think about it?
Power Athlete headquarters site.
What do you guys think?
I think that every day on the CrossFit Football boards, somebody's talking about what should I eat. Or, oh my gosh, I try to send them the link. Actually, Denny and I were just talk to me, Johnny, like there's a post. Tell me what to eat. And then, well, I don't eat enough, or I don't eat this, or what have you. And I know it's, for me, it sounds like for Denny too, I've cooked a lot of those CrossFit Football recipes too, and made up some of my own. And, having ideas when you're trying to cook, I just think it's a great idea. I think that if we could get, I think it's a great idea if people do it, right? So if we could get the nation to start submitting recipes and that sort of thing, great. But I think it has to be driven by the nation, right? It shouldn't be like you and Luke concocting recipes and stuff like that, right?
It's going to look like it's going to be like throw some meat in a crock pot with some onions and carrots.
Yeah,
rinse and repeat.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's really, that's probably what most of us eat on a daily basis. So if people want to get creative and have, interesting meals, then they should be responsible. So do you think it would be reasonable to say to the listeners that if you have a recipe that you think is just like banging and you want everyone to know about it, they could submit it to that comment and it'll get posted somewhere?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're spot on. Be like, hey, this should be, Power Athlete Nation should be participating in this much more than like myself giving you what I ate last night or what John ate or something like that, I think if we could get a meld of it, get everybody participating, I think we're going to be better off than say, just creating a header with 6 meals. I know there's a couple, rumor has it, there's a couple cookbooks in the works. So that could be something out there. Everybody keep your eyes out for. We'll know. I'll send more details out there when we know more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, here's the other thing. If you're interested in eating something and you're interested in paleo, read a couple of articles on sort of what the Power Athlete diet is, and then go look at all the websites on paleo-ish type of things and just add in extra sweet potatoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listening to last podcast about that guy, he's like, I eat, I'm never full. Eat more. I don't know contextually what a lot of food is. I know I put on 20 pounds of eating a mixture of a gallon of milk, which I don't suggest anybody do. Just for your personal life, don't do it. But it was hard to eat, and I was like, I ate so much. And then when you write it out and you realize you just don't eat that much.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much do I eat? I don't know. Play with it. Eat enough, eat a lot, eat more. You think you're eating too less, eat more. You're eating too much, eat less.
Yeah.
And I hate
my diet was always, it was horrible when I was 18, 19 years old. I mean, it sounds like he's in and out of classes. It's like, have a bigger breakfast, dude. Coffee and coconut oil don't cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Some meat, have a steak and eggs.
To his benefit, though, I mean, we should really be applauding the fact that he is 19 in college and paying attention to his diet like this. Because I'm with you, Denny. When I was 19 in college, it was whatever was on the cafeteria menu or whatever was left over from the party the night before. I mean, it was none of this. How much sweet potatoes am I getting after my workout? It was
right.
Yeah, I commend him on that end, dude. That's awesome. I mean, I was pizza, pasta, rice.
Totally.
As much as you could get.
Pizza, pasta, rice, and beer. They're like the 4 food groups.
Yeah. Like if I could, if I knew now what I know, if I knew, how does that go? If I knew then what I know now,
there you go.
I would definitely freaking pay more attention to nutrition.
Yeah. Nutrition
and sleep.
Oh, yeah. Well, to bring it all home, I think if everybody wants it, that could be something we could put out there, a power meal idea section on the blog. But I don't know if it's user generated much more so than ours. But we'll make a note of it. We'll keep that in mind.
Cool.
What about any new power athlete gear?
Yeah, we're always working on it.
Logos.
Working on it.
So when's that stuff going to come out? Because we need some gear to rep, bro.
We're working on it. We're busy. There's 3 people doing all this work, man.
Awesome.
So
you training for, right? I mean, there it is.
Yeah.
We are definitely working on it. It's just I believe it's the logos are all getting worked out. The final things. We're getting the shirts out. We'll have some stuff out for summer for sure.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Some tank tops, maybe.
Some tank tops, nice.
How do you guys like the socks? Anybody have socks out there? You guys buy those yet?
I have not, but I've got another pair of socks like that, and I love them.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
Awesome. They look badass.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin Daly. He emailed in asking if the guys can discuss sleep. I've seen a topic on the CrossFit football board intermittently and think it was partially covered in a Talk to Me Johnny article. The more sleep, the better to an extent, but could you provide any input, observations, or personal experience with too much, too little, screwed up sleep schedules? Mine's a mess, so I get it whenever I can.
Yeah,
sounds like a 19-year-old's life, right?
Steven, you wanna take us a little bit, and then I'll couch off the back end of yours.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all in agreement, which is keep getting it when you can, and be mindful of the fact that sleep is important for recovery. Sort of a personal anecdote: when my wife had our son, sleep was a distant memory. He's waking up every hour, every 2 hours or whatever. And for whatever reason, I fell into the trap of thinking I still had to train just as hard and pushed myself through and really made very little gains during that time. And in hindsight, I look back and I think to myself, well, if I had just taken some time off, if I had cut the intensity, the stressor on my body that I could control, which was in the weight room, and I couldn't control my son who was waking up because he's, an infant. I would have had much better gains, much better sort of output from that training. So I think sleep is ultimately important because good sleep is ultimately important because it's restorative for the body. Things like release of growth hormone, insulin regulation, upregulation of IGF. And so lots of your growing happens at night. And if you're training like crazy 5 or 6 days a week or whatever, and your sleep is horrible, you're just going to see a detraction of your gains. You might go backwards. You might not go anywhere. And so I think, Kevin, get the sleep you can. What I would suggest is like we suggested for the diet. If you think you're not getting enough sleep, get more. If you don't know, I would document it. I mean, we can't just, if you really care about your performance, then sort of armchairing it and saying like, oh, I don't know if I sleep good. Well, that doesn't cut it. Write it down. Think about how many hours you sleep. Think about how that interacts with the other kind of stressors in your life. I mean, things you want to control are stress hormones like cortisol that can be catabolic and basically detrimental, can result in things like injury. And then my final comment I think I'll make is, with respect to training, especially lifting heavy weights, I don't know if any of you guys have ever like been rushed for time, had a bad night's sleep, and tried to get under a snatch or under a back squat. My gosh, I mean, it's scary as hell. We talk about being dangerous to drive while sleepy. Well, it's dangerous to lift heavy weights when you're sleepy too. And so you just got to be careful, and you really have to. I mean, we get all geek out on the physiology of it all, but it's important. You need it. If you're not getting enough, get more.
If I could just jump in before Ben tears it up. I know when we had John on in like episode 2 or whatever, and you guys were talking all that, about sleep, and he mentioned like no computer after 9, get to sleep by 10, that like the first 3 or 4 hours of sleep are crucial. And I started doing that because I was one of the people that would, past 9 o'clock, I'd be checking emails after I got home from coaching, and then when my kids go to sleep, all of a sudden it's like 9:30 and I'm on the computer, and then I try to crash and my brain's going like 100 miles an hour. But if I can, just ditch it, be asleep by 10, man, I've had some great sleep, and I've been feeling like a huge difference in my performance when I go to the gym and, kick some ass. So
yeah,
I think that was some great advice.
Denny, yeah, you're spot on. I mean, there was a new study that was done, and I don't even think it's been published yet, but what this woman did was she took people and brought them into what she called naturalistic sleep cycles. And it turns out that people will go to sleep if given the opportunity, like nothing else to do, no computers, no TV, whatever. They'll start falling asleep about sunset, and those first 4 hours of sleep are super adaptive. In fact, if participants make those first 4 hours but miss the rest of the night, it's fine. They're just fine the next day. So they sleep for like 4 hours. They actually wake up in the middle of the night for about an hour, and they go into like this meditative, restorative, psychological state, and then they doze back off until sunset. And those people had, their hormone profiles came into line. People lost weight. Psychophysiological measures came online. It was almost like they got rebooted as human beings. With respect to your comment about computers, computers and iPhones and iPads and anything else in the world that is they're designed to grab your attention. One of the lights that they emit is UV blue light, which is designed to look like sun to grab your attention. So if you're forced, and I know like lots of the CF football nation are students or whatever, people that have to be on the computer at night, like myself. I have to mark exams or answer student emails, or you might have to research some stuff online. There are some programs you can get which can block that light. You can still work on your computer at night, but that light is significantly blocked and it doesn't impact your sleep in the same way. And so one of the programs I really like is called F.Lux. It's free after about sun, so it finds out where you are in the world, and then it knows when sunset is, and just as the sun sets, your screen will turn kind of orange. And what it's doing is it's blocking that UV blue light, so that your screen is no longer emitting that light that's designed to keep you awake. So there are ways around it, but I agree wholeheartedly with you. So I've been doing the same thing, and my sleep has been awesome.
Hey, can I put that on my TV and then like play Xbox all night? And everything
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh.
You shouldn't be playing Xbox all night anyway. You're a grown man.
No. That's cool, man.
Yeah. I just discovered this program not too long ago, and I really like it. I'm trying to get all my students to do it. I use all my students at the college. If you ever get in my class. You're going to be experimented on. And so I tell them all this stuff that we talk about, in sleep. I always recommend them getting better sleep and at least 8 hours. I mean, you'd be surprised at the average college student. I mean, I've got students in my class who admittedly get 4 to 5 hours of sleep 7 days a week. And then they wonder why they need 12 cups of coffee and can barely stay awake in class, can barely function, can't pay attention. I had a girl come up to me after class today, and she's one that I know sleeps very little. And I asked her a question, and she stared at me like I hadn't said anything. And I was like,
yeah, she was out of it. She was sleeping standing up.
Oh my gosh, she was just zoned out. And then, so I had to I should have just grabbed her and shook her, come on, go home and go to sleep. But I'd be in jail. So,
Ben, are you there? Ben fell asleep from listening to us.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I'm multitasking.
Nice. What are your thoughts on sleep, Ben?
I have some personal experience with clients and myself. I just like your students in college. I was one of those kids. I would stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning, probably just playing video games for no reason. And then I had practice. I played college soccer, and I had practice at 7:30. So we had to be at the training room by 7. And that kind of served as my coffee, and I would wake up. But by about noon, when all my classes were over, I would take 3 to 4 hour naps. And so it definitely wasn't ideal, but that was how I managed. I didn't drink coffee at the time. Now, though, I try to listen to John's kind of recommendations via Talk to Me Johnny, and just kind of knowing the guy. I try to be asleep or in bed around 10, and then try to sleep through the night as best I can.
Yeah.
And he talks about his circadian rhythms, trying to sleep between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And that's the most advantageous time to make sure that you're asleep. And I think the sleep thing, he's super geeked out on it right now. He's seeing a neurologist and all these guys are giving him some great feedback on brain and how it works. And I think he talked briefly about it with you guys a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
And this probably be a good question for him to address when he gets back into town. And but the sleep thing's huge. It helps recovery. I trained guys for 2 years. They were beer distributors. It's kind of a corporate wellness company at 5 a.m., 4 days a week. And these guys lived hard lives. They, as beer distributors, they had to entertain people every night. And then they would the only time they could show up to the gym was 5 a.m. and they would get 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And yeah, I was able to give them some results, but their workout, their hour, 5 to 6, spent 20 minutes rolling out and trying to actively warm up, lift some heavy weights, and then try to keep your heart rate down and do some basic accessory work,
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, they didn't see that great of results because they just never slept. And one of the guys had sleep apnea. He's just such a mess. His body would start shaking. Super nice guy, but he could just never do anything without falling apart. And it was just crazy how much sleep, affects you.
Yeah, you raise a really good point, Ben, which is, and I don't think Kevin has this problem, but if you have a sleep problem, sleep apnea is really serious. Lots of things can impact that. And, you don't want to play with that. If you feel like your sleep is really disturbed because of something that is biological or biomedical, my recommendation as a scientist would be to get it sorted out. And, in line with that, I have to say I really admire John. John is always just simply biohacking himself into being a more optimal, badass MFer. And what a role model. It's so cool that you get to hang out with him and stuff, because here he is. He's
John Melbourne and role model. I like it.
For real.
Yeah.
For you, so.
It would be great to be out there and hang with him all day like you guys do.
Right. Yeah. That is, I think to seriously investigate, he's probably got fine sleep. Maybe not. He's got 2 young kids now, but he's probably got fine sleep, perfect diet. He's strong and all that stuff. And then, to continue to try and improve yourself is just, I think it's laudatory. But
yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm lucky to be able to work with him and people like him who are just constantly, at an apex and constantly reaching for more.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. And that allows me to do podcasts like this and talk about stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, I think that's all we have for today. So I guess right, Denny?
Yeah. I mean, we got everything on the agenda.
Cool.
Greatest show ever.
Yeah. We just keep Luke out of it, and we're doing great. You know?
Who thought he was going to say that, right? Yeah. You two have like a sibling rivalry of some sorts. I would love to see you two lift.
There's a video that I made somewhere. I got to find it. And when Luke first moved out to Newport was like the only time that I was stronger than him. He'd come off some sort of back injury, and I think we found like a 10-inch rim that went to something. We don't even know what, but we just pretended it was platinum. We called it a thingamajig, and we put a 20-pound chain around it, and the winner got to wear it, which sounds like the winner should have not had to wear it. Yeah. And we went for 1RM rack jerks for the competition, and we were putting ourselves through some shit and just yelling at each other. It was pretty funny. I think he won with like a 150 rack jerk, and I got like 145 or something like that.
Nice.
Pounds or kilos?
Now we're talking kilos.
Ounces, man. Ounces.
Nice.
Kilos.
So you measure.
But yeah, we have a good time. We have a good. We alluded to it in a thing in the beginning. We all have a pretty good, healthy relationship. We're good friends, and we know when to work, and we train hard, and it's all good stuff. It's a great environment to be a part of.
Nice. That's awesome.
You know, real quick, Ben, I was, you said rack jerks. That's what I was doing yesterday. 1 rep max rack jerk. And man, I can't get past like 295. You know, I want to jerk 300 pounds, you know, because ultimately I want to clean and jerk that. But every time lately it's like when I get underneath it, it's that lockout.
Where are you breaking?
At first, I thought it was upper back, and I'm like, man, you know what? My upper back's fine. It's my freaking triceps, man.
Oh, you think it's your triceps that are?
I do. I mean, I should videotape it and see. It's like I can dip and drive and get underneath it. It's just holding it and then standing up with it. It starts to start breaking at my elbows.
Yeah, I don't know. Send a videotape and send it our way. I mean, you better hurry up and get that 300 because Camille's coming after you. Did you guys see that video of her rack or front jerking 255 the other day?
No. I didn't.
No, dude, I dropped the ball on that.
Wow.
You know Camille, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Play Bizine.
The only attractive female participant of the CrossFit Games.
LeBlanc. Is that her last name?
Questionable, but there's a lot more. There's some beautiful women out there.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah, but she front jerked 255 like cake.
Wow.
Like, I mean, that's almost double body weight for a front jerk, you know? Like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
She's coming for you.
And that is, I guess I should have been more clear. That is when my rack jerk was from the front. You know, I was in the rack position. It wasn't on the shoulders.
So that would just be called a jerk.
Right.
Just a jerk.
But jerk? Cool. No worries. Okay, so your front jerk, I don't know, maybe it's positioning, maybe you're leaning forwards too much. I don't know. Send a video and we'll doctor it up.
Sweet.
Cool.
If you think it's tricep, do 30 minutes of tricep extension.
Right? I know. I told you I was hanging around some of my powerlifting friends over the weekend and they were talking about that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does have its merit.
And do 100 freaking skull crushers.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. You know, I mean, that's something I don't really do. So,
you know, besides swinging kettlebells, we found them to be great tools for like French press and, you know, preacher curls and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool.
Awesome.
Man. All right. Well,
pleasure, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Ben.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, cool. Power Athlete Radio is out.
See.